All right, welcome back. Now, in this example here, we're asked to find a polynomial. So we're going to construct a polynomial based on information given to us. So in this case here, it says find a third degree polynomial f of x with integer coefficients and with zeros, 2/3, and 4 plus 2i. Okay. Now, since it's a third degree polynomial with integer coefficients, which are real, right? And they're giving us these two zeros, which means we have a third zero remaining, okay? So that third zero has to be the conjugate of this, because remember, conjugate pairs. These zeros, these always happen in conjugate pairs, okay? So we know that the zeros, the other zero is what? So 4 minus 2i is also a zero, okay? And so now we know that if we want to factor this, we know f of x is going to equal what? It's going to be equal to x minus 2/3 times x minus 4 plus 2i and x minus 4 minus 2i. Okay. Now, if I expand this out, well, let's do this one first. This is the easier one because we know the middle term here is going to simplify. So we're going to get a quadratic here, okay? And so in this case, what we're going to end up with is, let's do this first. So it's x minus 2/3, and then this is going to become x squared minus 8x plus plus 20. Right? Do you guys see that? So if you don't, just let's do, well, let's just do the formula. So x times x gives us x squared. And then we've got x times this, right? And then we got x times this, right? So this is going to give us minus 2 times 2, so it's going to give us a minus 4x minus 2ix minus 4x plus 2ix. So the 2ix's are going to cancel out and you end up with a minus 8x. And then when you multiply these two together, what? You get 16. The middle terms are going to fall out, so the 2i's are going to fall out. And then you get 16 minus 4i squared, which is going to give you a plus 4. So 16 plus 4 is 20. All right. Now we expand again. Now I'm going to use the distributive property again. So this is going to give me x cubed minus 8x squared plus 20x. And then now I'm going to distribute the minus 2/3. So it's going to be minus 2/3 x squared plus 16/3 x minus 40 thirds. And now if I combine like terms, I'm going to get x cubed minus minus 8 2/3 x squared, which is going to give me 26 thirds x squared. Then I have plus 20 16 thirds x and so this is 5 1/3. So this is going to be 25 1/3, which is going to be 76 thirds x, and then minus 40 thirds. Okay, and that is what they wanted us to do. So we set up a polynomial and okay, now so one thing to keep in mind in this case is some of you might say, oh, we're done, right? But this is where you have to read the problem carefully and make sure you keep the goal in mind. One of the key things that they mentioned in here that you don't want to overlook is the fact that they tell us it's integer coefficients. Okay. Now remember from a previous video, I had mentioned that hey, when we do this, when we're constructing polynomials based on this information, remember these polynomials are not unique. Okay. Remember, there's an a value that you should always assume when you're working on problems like this that are there. Okay. So assume that we're multiplying by some non-zero a value. Okay, so now all we have to do is say, okay, what a value, and again, there's not just one a value, but typically we want the smallest a value. So what's the smallest a value that if we multiply this polynomial by will give us integer coefficients? Well, the answer is 3, right? Because we want to get rid of that denominator. So if we multiply this polynomial by 3, then we'll have integer polynomials. So we'll just make a equal to 3. So if we multiply through by by 3 to get rid of the integers, then we're done. So this will become 3x cubed minus 26x squared plus 76x minus 40. And that is the answer to that part. All right, now part B says, so part B says, find a polynomial g of x of lowest degree with zeros of -2 multiplicity 1 and 4 multiplicity 3 in in satisfying the condition that g of 0 equals 256. Okay, so we want to find g of x of lowest degree, okay, where with zeros, -2, with a multiplicity 1, and 4 with a multiplicity of 3, and g of 0 equals 256. All right, so now, again, we're going to use the information that we know to help us solve this, okay? Now, the first thing is by looking at the information, what do they give us? They give us the zeros, okay? So the zeros are going to help us write this in factored form, right? So since I know that this is that these are the zeros and their corresponding multiplicities, I can write this g of x in factored form. Now let's just do that. So g of x equals, now just like before, don't forget the a value, right? Because again, this represents a family of polynomials that would satisfy these. So let's put an a in here, because we don't know what a is. It's just non-zero. And now, given the zeros, we know -2 is a 0. So 1 0 is going to be x, or excuse me, one factor is going to be x minus -2, which is +2, with a multiplicity of 1, right? So it just has an exponent of 1. And then 4, right, is also a 0, so we know we have a linear factor of x minus 4 with a multiplicity of 3. Okay? And we want g of 0 to be 256. Okay, so we can do this now or later, but in factored form, we could just set this equal to 250. Let me see. Yeah, we could just think about this. So if g of 0, right, we want g of 0. G of 0 is going to be what? It's going to give me a times what? 2 times -4. And so we want this to equal 256. Well, then that means all I'm doing is going to be dividing both sides by -8. So a will equal 256 divided by -8, which will give me what? So this will be what? -32. So right away we could solve for a. Since it's in factored form, it's easy just to plug in 0 and solve for a. And did I write something down wrong? Hold on. Oh. Oh. I can't believe I did that. I forgot the exponents. No wonder. Don't do that. Don't forget the exponents. This should be a 3. Okay, that makes a difference. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, disregard what I just did. So the only thing is I forgot to bring my 3. So don't do that. So I've got, so this reduces the -4 to the third, which means that this is going to be what? This is going to be 64, or -64 times 2, which is -128 times a, equals 256. And so if we divide both sides by -128, okay, then we get the correct answer, which is a equals -2. Sorry about that. So a equals -2. So now that we've got a, so we can go back. Now, if I would have expanded this out first, that's fine, and then solve for a, you would have got the same answer. I just think my first thought was, well, it's already in factored form. It's easy to plug in 0 and solve first. So I did this first, and now what we'll do is now that we know what a is, now we can go ahead and expand it out, and we're done. Okay. So in this case here, a is now -2. Now we'll just expand this out. Okay. So this is going to be -2 times x plus 2. And this is going to be x minus 4 times x squared minus 8x plus 16. Okay, now I'm going to distribute again, so that'll give me 2 times x plus 2 times, now it's going to be x cubed minus 8x squared plus 16x minus 4x squared plus 32x minus 64 right? So -4x squared plus 32x minus 64. Okay. And then of course this gives us x cubed minus 12x squared plus 48x minus 64. And now I'm going to distribute this term, right? So now I'm going to use the distributive property again. Oh, by the way, I dropped my negative. -2. And then this is going to give me what? This is going to give me x to the 4th minus 12x to the 3rd plus 48x squared minus 64x. And then it's just going to be plus 2x to the 3rd minus 16x x squared plus 32x minus 8. Oops. I got mixed up with it. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry. Oops. Hold on. I was looking at the wrong line. Okay, so this times this, right? So x to the fourth minus 12x cubed plus 48x squared minus 64x. Okay, then it's plus 2x cubed minus 24x squared plus 96x minus 128. Okay, and then finally, g of x, now we're going to multiply through. Finally, g of x is going to equal, let's combine these. So this is going to be, let's combine like terms here for a moment. So this is going to be x to the fourth minus 10x cubed plus 24x squared plus 32x, 32x minus 128. And then if you multiply everything by -2, you get -2x to the fourth plus 20x cubed minus 48x squared minus 64x plus 256. Woo! And that's it. Not bad.